record this. So a very warm welcome to this, the Freedom Programme. We're going to be exploring what freedom means to you and exploring lots of ways that you can bring true freedom into your business as well, because that's what you're here for. So as I said, that this is an interactive session. When I deliver anything, I really want to ensure that you, the person who's actually arrived, the person who's listening back to the recording, are served in the deepest possible way. And I want you to be as engaged and be as supported through this content as possible. So the way that we will be doing that, there'll be specific exercises that we'll be going through, and we will also be using the chat box, which is over here. If you click on the more drop down button on your screen and go to chat box, it's here, and you can just type a message. So I'm just going to type in hello, and you will have all seen that. And this is a really simple way to make it interactive. So come and say hi, come and tell me more about you. There will definitely be a break halfway through for Q&A as well. And I'm really excited that you're here. I'm really excited to be sharing this content with you, because this was a massive struggle for me when I set up my online business, looking at delivering business support, business inspiration and motivation to female entrepreneurs. And certainly freedom felt like it was a long way away from being a possibility. So let's see who we've got here. Hello, Savannah. Lovely to see you here. Well done. Fantastic. She's found the chat box. Yay. Okay, so let's get on with this content. So if you haven't met me before, I'm Rachel Smith. I'm the founder and the creator of The Business Grower. I am absolutely passionate about supporting women, female entrepreneurs in business. And this is about doing business your way. This is about generating success, abundance, clients, money, whatever it is that you're looking to create, whatever turns you on as a woman. I'm absolutely passionate about supporting you to create your business, your success, your way. And I understand from supporting hundreds of women what works, and I also understand what works from my own business as well. And this is fabulous content. You know, this is like the stuff that's going to make a difference. And the reason why I truly believe in this content and everything that I'm going to share with you today is that being a female entrepreneur it's fairly tricky, isn't it? It can feel like it's hard work, and we have an awful lot of stuff to manage. We've got an awful lot of stuff to figure out, and we've got an awful lot of kind of personal involvement as well. So here are some of the challenges that I see women struggling with in business. So if these are resonating with you, again, just pop into the chat box, come and share your own experience, your own interpretation of these challenges. And when I share these are never from the point of judgment, because you can be pretty sure that I have experienced all of these and probably many more. But these are kind of the key challenges that I see. So here we are, we're female entrepreneurs, we're passionate about our business. We've taken some risks, haven't we? We've, perhaps decided to work part-time in our jobs and part-time in our businesses. Perhaps we're juggling family life and business. Perhaps you've got to the stage where you have completely stopped working for anybody else, and actually you're all in to generate and create success in your business. So that, you think that's big enough steps, big enough risks, everything else you just fall into place, but there's a whole lot more, isn't there? So here are the key challenges I see women facing all the time when they're actually running the business. They have a real desire to grow, to have more success, more clients, and to have that on a consistent level as well. Is that, number one, I see women believing that they have to build their businesses on their own. And for many, that it comes from a belief that they will invest in their business at a time when their business is more successful. And there's a real feeling here for women believing that they are not good enough yet to invest in. So that in this situation, if this is you, you are likely to be doing everything in your business. You're probably trying to learn everything that there is about running a business, about being online, about growing a business, and it can become very overwhelming. And we start to feel as if we're jack of all trades and kind of master of none. And this is a very real challenge that so many women face. Let me know if this is resonating with you, if you are currently in this situation or have experienced it in your business. The second one is this kind of belief from women that they're not good enough already, that they feel like an imposter and that somebody's going to figure them out and figure out that they aren't the successful, amazing person that they're claiming to be, that they don't have the skills and experience and the ability to support their clients in the way that you want to. And when you're struggling from imposter syndrome or feeling as if you are not good enough, this can affect how you show up online. It affects your prices. It affects your ability to go out there, create and sell amazing products and services. And in this kind of place, we can often be guilty of putting other people on pedestals. And from that becomes a whole range of stories that we tell ourselves about how amazingly successful they are and how you can't have that success yourself, or how success only happens to lucky people or people who are more intelligent or smarter or cleverer or younger or who are marketing experts. So we start to surround these people with stories about how it's okay for them, but we can't actually achieve the same level of success in our own lives and in our own businesses. The third challenge that I see women facing is this kind of just showing up and not having really clarity about who they are, what their business is, and who they're looking to work with. And even if you've got those things figured out, again, what I see women struggling with is strategy. And I think, sometimes strategy maybe starts to feel as if it's pulling us back into that corporate world that we've done so well to actually get out of, and that we don't want to get bogged down with strategy or endless planning rounds. We just actually want to get into our business. We're hungry for it. We want it to happen now. And we do live in a world, this is like a true recognition that we live in a world of instant gratification, don't we? If we want to buy something and we're on Amazon Prime, we can get it the next day. Today is a prime example of that. I looking for some boots for my daughter. We found some last night. I've ordered some. They're going to be in the store tomorrow. And we can apply this very same thing to our businesses, can't we? Where we really want the success, and when we're going out there and we're taking risks and we're taking big leaps and we're generating some momentum, that we get really frustrated if we don't start to receive the results straight away. And that's real, isn't it? That is the world that we're in. But actually in business, it does take some time, it takes some consistency to actually start to get those results coming through. And it's the ones who persevere and the ones who hang on even when it kind of doesn't make sense to hang on any longer, who will start to get the results. But we're going to be talking a little bit later about how you can actually accelerate that in your own business. And this was a massive one for me. Number 4 is that here we are, we're rocking up. We've got big passion, big vision, big dream at the start of the game for our business and for our lives and what we can achieve and those people who can positively impact on. And before long, we start to get flooded with information about this program or that formula or this way of running a successful business. And especially if you're in the realms of actually putting other people on a pedestal, we start to believe that the only way that you can generate success is by following somebody else's rules, somebody else's business model, somebody else's formula to success. And if that works for you, brilliant, hurrah, I want to hear about it. But if it doesn't work for you in the the time that you've given yourself, because women are great at giving themselves deadlines. You know, I've got to be generating X amount of money in my business in the next 6 months, or otherwise I'm stopping. But when we're investing in other people's rules, we can start to shrink within ourselves, because we start to disbelieve our own intuition and our own understanding of what is true, because we start to give that that responsibility to other people. And the final challenge for women that I see happening all the time is when we have been excited about business, we're on it, we want to have the success, and then we don't start to get those results through straight away or within those timeframes that we've given, and we start to feel as though we have to play a smaller game, and that actually having this big juicy business isn't the thing for you. So let me know if that is resonating with you, and let me know which ones of those that perhaps you're currently struggling with as well, because this is your opportunity to work on your business. So today what you're receiving is some training, and then further on from that, for the next 2 weeks over in my Facebook group, Live Your Abundant Life, I'm actually going to give you the one thing that's going to make a big difference here, is that we can all go and participate in training, and we can, download amazing content, but unless you have the support to actually put it in place, it's really difficult to make those changes. We all get back into our groove before too long, and we've realised after a short period of time that actually we've not made the progress. For 2 weeks over in Live Your Abundant Life, I will happily support you to implement the things that come up for you as you're working through today's training. So, as I said at the beginning of actually sharing those challenges, I'm not coming from a place of judgment. I'm coming from a place of understanding, because many of those things that I've outlined are things that I've had to overcome myself in order to have the business that I've got today. But I also understand that when you do work through these things, when you've been supportive, or when you've overcome fear and the challenges that we talked about, and when you've got clarity, and when you've got focus, and when you remind yourself to stay on your own path and not to be distracted by somebody else's path and journey, that's when it starts to make sense. Yeah, so Sylvana's saying, I think a big challenge is working on your own and not asking for help. Yeah, because you don't want to bother anybody. Exactly. But why would we think that? Why would we even think that we're bothered to somebody else? And it's all to do with how we feel about ourselves, isn't it? So lovely to see Lindsay here as well. She said she was going to come and join us. So it's really lovely to see that here. So really, this is about, the thing that makes the difference. If everybody's looking for the secret formula to success, it's about having clarity and having that kind of shakeable belief within yourself that you can make it happen. And when you build that within yourself, because it always starts with us, doesn't it? When you start to build that belief, you will start to build your confidence and your belief in yourself and your dreams every single day. And you'll stop kind of following other people's formulas. You start to break out of the mold. You start to be yourself. And we'll be talking about why that's important in a little while. And well, let's talk about it now, because it's really important why you break away from being like other people. There's only me that can be me in my business. There's only me that can deliver content in this way. There's only me that can work with my clients in my way. There's only me that's got my messages within me. So when I'm creating a live or an anchor or writing a blog post, there's the only person that I need to be allowing onto that page is me. And when we're facing the challenges that I outlined earlier, we don't have the belief that being ourselves and sharing our message that's true to us and our truth and our story, we don't believe that we are good enough to do that. And we start to fall back on using somebody else's formula. But what happens here is that you just get wrapped up into sounding like everybody else that's online. And what happens is that for your audience, they can't quite connect with you. They can't quite get you because there's nothing to hang off. Everything's so perfect and so amazing. it's only just today over in my Facebook group, Live Your Abundant Life, I shared like the downside sometimes of having an online business. And that's because I truly believe, yes, I can deliver training like this, I can be inspirational and motivational, but I also want for you to see the truth that I'm not one of the lucky ones. I still have stuff that I need to work through. And everything that we've got today and for the next 2 weeks is all about supporting you to do that yourself. So when you start to be who you truly are in business and call in your soulmate clients and create content that talks to the absolute core of your audience, this is when everything starts to change and everything inside of you starts to hustle. This is when everything starts to flow and it feels like you're not hustling anymore. It feels like you can actually just generate flow and ease and new clients. So I'm just going to pause there and I want to ask you, both the people who are here live and anybody who's listening back to this in a recording sense, is, one of the key frustrations in business is this feast and famine. And if you've been around my Facebook page, you would have seen me talk about this a lot recently, because it's absolutely true, isn't it? This complete feast and famine piece that so many of us struggle with in business. So for the people here, what I'd like you to do, either you can share this in the chat box or you can respond to it yourself. But I would like for you to consider if you are currently experiencing this feast and famine cycle in your business. And feel free to share what's happening for you. And the second element to that question is, what would your business look and feel like when feast and famine wasn't a factor? So if you could actually introduce a consistent flow of money and a consistent flow of clients into your business, what would your business look and feel like? Okay. Yes, so Lindsays sharing, she's in famine right now. And it feels flipping awful, doesn't it? I can't seem to get a consistent flow of clients. Yeah, and that is just not a great place to be in at all. Energetically, we start to get a bit meh about everything. The internal language that we use with ourselves becomes quite negative, and then a new cycle occurs. Yeah, very demotivating, very awful. If you start to doubt yourself, don't you? You start to believe that you've got to jack it all in, that you can't do it, it only happens to other people, and that's not you. Yes, so absolutely, it is about having the right clients. I mean, let me just share a little bit about my own story. Lindsay knows this quite well because she's been in my world for a little while, but I had a life coaching business. And in 2012, I got the opportunity to bring a local networking group to my town, York, here in the UK. And this was a networking group of female business entrepreneurs. And it didn't really make sense because they were my clients. But I just had this kind of internal pull and I listened to it and I went with it. And after a short period of time, the women, the female entrepreneurs who came to that event every single month started asking me, like, well, how do you run a successful business? And I started to get this pull that I needed to change my niche, but I resisted it for a long time because I'd nailed being a life coach and working with women, and I knew how to do that. And I was like looking out to the outside world and looking at business coaches, and I was like, oh my gosh, that marketplace is saturated. There's some really amazing women in there. Why would I actually go up against them? I totally believed in competition. I totally believed that the market was saturated. However, a lot of like internal work was done, and I got to the point where in 2014 I relaunched as a business grower, and 2015 was all about me going out there and supporting women so they weren't having the experience that I'd experienced in my early days of my life coaching business, and certainly the women who were in my networking group and all of the kind of frustrations and challenges they had. So Lindsay just showed that I've learned that over the year and have just stopped one clinic because it wasn't me. It's totally true. So if you are having the pull that actually the people that you're here to serve, or the people that you're currently serving, are not the right ones. I want to give you the absolute confidence from my own personal experience that if you're feeling like that, this is what in coaching terms we'd say, this is where you're out of alignment. And when you continue to be in this space, everything feels clunky, everything feels difficult, and everything feels like an extra effort. So for Lindsay, I'd imagine that she kind of made that brave decision like I did back in 2014-15 and decided to just change things up. And for me, it was re-niching and going out there as the business grower. And I decided, I was a savvy business owner at this point and a coach. And I was like, right, okay, I'm going to invest in a coach and everything will be fixed. No, I won't have feast and famine. Everything will be amazing. And so on. So obviously I'd been stalking a few people lovingly, and I chose this person because I could see that she had the most amazing business. She was wildly successful, and I was, at that time, I had that whole like putting somebody else on a pedestal, and I truly believed that I wanted to morph into this person. So I invested a large amount of money, a lot of time and energy, and I got some results. Was it the results I was looking for? Absolutely not. Was I working in a way that lit me up? No, not at all. But because I'd invested this money and I had this belief that I could become this person, and this person, send her a lot of love because she's got a brilliant business, but it wasn't the right business model for me, and that's the only thing she could teach me. So there I was, 2015, working hard, really putting a lot of time and energy and dedication into my business, to the detriment of my health, to the detriment of my family. But I totally believed in it. My husband and I had this agreement, that I was all in. And I got results, but God, it was hard work. And I was constantly at my desk, constantly on social media, constantly believing that I wasn't good enough. And getting distracted as well, like, oh, they're doing this now, or oh, that person's doing that now, and just like going here, there, and everywhere. It was the most confusing year ever. And it got to kind of the beginning part of 2016. I'd invested a lot of money into a big launch. I'd given myself 3 weeks to launch this signature program because I was being the good little business coach and doing what I had learned. And from all of that, I attracted one new client. And I was like, we all have those crossroads, don't we? Where it's like, something's got to give here. Something's got to change. I either stop doing what I'm doing, or I need to actually change how I'm working, because this isn't working. And by now, I bought into everybody else's rules and formulas and all the rest of it. And I just knew, probably it was a coach within me, that I was like, I'm done. I'm only showing up now as I want to, delivering the messages that I want to, and working with the right clients. So, Lindsay, it would be great to hear a little bit more about, what's happened for you since you stopped working with, the clinic that didn't work for you. Definitely. So I decided that I was going to walk my own talk. This is really important for all of us, is that often we teach the things that we need to learn ourselves. So there I was, supporting my clients to be in alignment and to work in flow and blah, blah, blah. But this was exactly what I needed to hear for myself and actually do for myself. And 2016 was like a completely different year. I was like, right, I'm all in to be me. I'm already good enough. And the number one thing that made the most significant change was working on my mindset. And again, Lindsay has definitely heard this. But working on my mindset, in the first instance, I didn't go out and create anything else. I worked on my mindset. And I got it to a position where I was like, right, I'm now full of belief and excitement and clarity. And from that point, I took action. So I don't want it to sound like I worked on my mindset and everything was great and I had to stop working on my mindset. I work on my mindset every single day. It's one of my non-negotiables. My family totally understand it. And I sit there and I write it all out and I feel what I need to feel. And then from that point, I take the action. That's the most important thing. And 2016 was like the most amazing year from this point. I was creating all the time, I was launching all the time, I was highly visible. In May, I got the download that I was going to run a mastermind. I'd never been in a mastermind, but it really called to me. So I launched that in the June, and I ran it throughout the summer in July, and it was utterly amazing. The women in there started making 5k. They were like, oh my God, I didn't even know that this was possible. And we had an awful lot of fun. And that's why one of my number one products is a mastermind. So I have a mastermind, I run a mastermind, and now I'm part of a mastermind as well. So Lindsay's shared, I've started in another space in a different area, which is better for me, but it's the whole client-based thing. Yeah, so feeling quite stuck. Yeah. So Lindsay, I would say if you're still saying that this isn't what you really want, so we are going to look at that. Today is all about looking at what you really want, because when you step into what you really want, this is when the magic happens. So if you would have just heard me saying that, like last year, I got the download that I was going to create and run and all the rest of it, my very first mastermind. And I didn't have a very particularly big list last year. I hadn't been consistently visible because I've been doing all this internal like, but I launched it and ran it, and the women in it got amazing results. And that was because I was in flow. I was calling in the right people to me, working in a way that totally lit me up. And it's when we trust ourselves to do this is when everything changes for us. So let's come over to you now. So I've been kind of talking for the last 30 minutes. So let's look at this very first exercise that I have for you. So today is very much about working on your business. I really want you to have the opportunity to do a lot of the work that sometimes we don't give ourselves time or energy for. So without worrying about the how or worrying about getting permission for this to be true for you, I want you to kind of come to this first page in your workbook. And this is about defining what success looks like for you. Your success and my success and Lindsay's success, and we're all different. What success means to you is very, very personal and very, very individual, which is amazing, isn't it? So before we start to look at business models and products and services and everything else that we need to look at in business, for me, it's always coming back to who you are and building it from this point. So I want you to just take a moment. If you need to close your eyes and think about this in a really deep way, but just start to write down the first things that come to you. So even if you haven't printed the handbook out, just grab a piece of paper and write this down. And sometimes what happens is that we're so shrouded in doubt and confusion is that we numb out what we truly want. But the whole point of being like a totally like woman in flow or turned on woman is thinking about, what are your deepest desires without the worry, without the wondering about the how bit. And I want you to write down, what does success for you look like? So that might be about your business. It might be about, the type of clients that you're working with, the type of support that you're providing, how many hours you're working in a day, how much money you're generating, and anything and everything is possible. And you've got to recall that, I'm sharing this exercise when I've been coming from a place of previously in the early part of 2016, which isn't that long ago, I was, like Brené Brown talks about, I was face down in the dirt, hammering my little fists in total frustration that I didn't have the business that I was wanting. And I was so frustrated with the time and the energy and the money that I'd invested in my business. And I was so cross that I didn't have the business that I wanted. But it was from that point that I was able to actually, do this work. They're all the lessons that we needed to learn. And sometimes we get to learn them over and over again until we're actually ready to hear. But for you right now, I want you to just, jot down, what does success look like for you? Or maybe success feels like something. So this could be absolutely anything. It could be about the choices that you can bring into your life. Maybe you can start to make some choices about where you live, how you live, where you shop, the type of holidays that you go on, the other things that you do outside of business, the people that you get to hang out with, or maybe success is about how you feel about yourself, that you have that utter belief and understanding that you can achieve whatever you want and that you can be whoever you are. And then it's starting to really expand. And like my dream day looks like this. This is one of my favorite kind of mindset pieces, is that I write about my dream day all the time in my journal. I absolutely love this. This is like my regular daydream, and it's so powerful. So like when I was a kid, I always did this, and I didn't really understand what I was doing. But I'd just, if I was in the back of the car traveling with my family, I'd kind of tune out and I'd just have a daydream about what my life in the future looked like. And obviously I was a child, I didn't worry about how it was actually going to happen. But many of those things that I kind of daydreamed about actually happened. And this is your mindset this is your mind getting ready to look for those opportunities so you understand what you want, what you feel called saying yes to. So you get rid of that distraction and that confusion, and you just get really clear about following only the things that you truly desire. And you're only working with the people that you truly desire, and you're only working the hours that you want, and you're generating the income goal. So I would love to know from the guys who are here, and anybody who's listening back to the recording, you can come in to Live Your Abundant Life and share this with us as well. But who has an income goal? There are not very many women I know who are comfortable with setting themselves an income goal. And our relationship with money is a whole different masterclass, I can tell you. And it's a daily practice. But in all of this, the success, money, we are in business. And for us as female entrepreneurs is that it's okay, it's safe for us to want money as well, and to want more money, and to want more money than perhaps you've got right now. And it's safe for us to want and feel like this as well. So put your income goal down. And this is, for me, this is what you come back to every time. And every time you take, you open up some training that you've perhaps invested in, or you open up somebody's freebie, or you listen to somebody's content like this. For me, it's always coming back to, what do I want? What would make me feel really turned on as a woman and as a female entrepreneur? Which bits of this do I want, and which bits do I need to bring into it as well? Yes. So this is really common, isn't it? And Lindsays made the direct link between how she feels and how much she thinks she can actually generate. And like some of the coaches that I work with, they're multi-millionaires because they work on their mindset and they program themselves, even like before they even were millionaires, they position themselves in their heads and their minds that was just a non-negotiable, that it was just going to happen. And then they step into it, because the Jews here, and this is like one of the key elements to mindset that not many people do or understand, is that we all have a groove, and we need the ability to step out of that groove and step into a newer version of us. So whenever you're doing any future pacing work, like what we're looking at right now, it's then thinking about, well, as that future version of me, what is the action that I'll be taking? So for Lindsay, it might be like, as that future version of me, what is the money that I'm generating? And if thinking like a year down the road is too big, make it like, what are the monetary goals that I am setting for myself for 3 months' time? And work towards that. But kind of see yourself in that. And you might think, well, I can't see myself in that because this is my current situation. And that's when you've got to do that internal work to, release whatever's happened before, to start to program yourself for success, and to start to see yourself in the future as this version of yourself and to be completely happy and comfortable with that. So let me know if that is making sense and if you can see how you could actually bring this in, because this is one of the crucial elements that's going to make a difference to you, that's going to really bring in that sense of freedom as well. So before we move on to the next part, has anybody got any questions about this? And I'll tell you why this works. So this is like, before in 2015, I was working like a dog. I was working like Monday to Friday, weekends, evenings. I'd like do the school run, pick the kids up, sort them out. Husband would come home, I'd go back to work. That's how I worked. That's how I believed you had to work. And that's what I did. Now that I've learnt my lessons and now that I've got clarity about who I am and how I want to work, and I've brought those things into my life, is that I only work Monday to Thursday, and within that, like tomorrow morning, I'll be out at an exercise class, because that's really important to me, is having the ability to go out and actually exercise. I work from home, I work school hours, I don't have any childcare, which is amazing. Sometimes it feels exhausting, but mainly it's amazing that my children, who are like 7 and almost 11, they've got somebody that they can come home to. It means that they get time to chill out. They've got their own space. They've got my son, who's 11, he can go out and play with his friends. They get some support of the homework. It's not like this restricted period of time where we've only got an hour between people getting home and the end of the day. So it's an absolute blessing, and I'm deeply grateful for that. It wasn't always the case. I take a majority of the school holidays off, and we spend the whole summer travelling. We have the most amazing adventures. And then when this started to click in, and this time last year, I got the opportunity that I could have invested in a property, and this was like mine and my husband's dream property. It hadn't really been on our agenda. The opportunity arose and we decided to go for it. And this year we bought our dream property that, if you'd seen it like in April, you would have thought it wasn't a dream. It was probably a lot of people's nightmares because it needed a full renovation. But it's almost finished now and it's absolutely amazing. I love it. And that has come from the success that I've generated in my business. I have a gorgeous flow of clients who are amazing, and I love them, and they achieve brilliant results. I show up how I want to and when I want to. I don't sit here on social media fretting all day long about when my next clients are. I get really kind of in touch with myself, and I think about what I want to come up, and I start to work on it and start to call it in. I absolutely love my business, and I don't think in the last 12 months I've had many moments or any moments of thinking about packing it all in. And that certainly has been, that whole thing about packing it all in was a roller coaster for me previously. So let's talk now about anything you want to add from that, please do. That's weird. So let's talk about how you can how you can end feast or famine. So this is my income calculator. Woohoo! It's very sophisticated, isn't it? So depending on your currency depends on what that would be. But like I said, it's about doing the mindset work first, and then seeing in your mind's eye what your income goal is. And this is what you'll put here. So it might be that for 2017-18, if we're going to take from this period of time, from October through to next October as 12 months, think about what you want your income goal to be. And this is like what you truly desire it to be. Not like worrying about whether or not you can do it, because I'm going to share with you how you can make this happen. And you don't have to become like anything that you don't want to become. This is about you working in flow, working in alignment, and just doing the things that totally light you up. So let's say that your income goal is £50,000. I'm going to say pounds because that's where I am. So it's like, oh, that's nice. You could journal about that, of course. You could you know, visualize it, of course, but ultimately we need to know where that £50,000 is coming from. One of the kind of caveats I'd say there is that you need to know that if you truly feel in alignment to pull in £50,000, and if you truly are all in to make this happen, is that that income goal is a given. It's happening. 12 months, you'll be banking that or something similar either side of that. So let's look at how that's going to happen. And this is where the kind of level 1, level 2 and level 3 income products are. It doesn't sound very exciting, doesn't it? I could have maybe thought of something fancy to say, but I wanted to make this simple. I wanted you to get this. So thinking about your business, thinking about how you love to show up and who you love to work with, and maybe you've got some questions about who you love to work with, and that's something that you really need to get resolved quite quickly. And I would say, like in 2016, I had the best time. I just created whatever I wanted and I sold it, and it was amazing. Some weeks I was just selling I sold 3 things, 3 separate things, and it was so exciting. I've kind of calmed down a little bit since then, but it was like I just gave myself a year to be playful, to see what I wanted to do, because I didn't really know. I was so numbed down with believing everybody else's business models that I just needed to have a go at myself. And from that, I really discovered what I did love. So in your business, this is your business model, basically. You've got your income goal, which is, let me just think that. So this is your income goal, this amount here. And then these are the ways that you're actually going to generate that. So perhaps you've already got some products and services that fit into one of these levels. And what I'd say there is just check in with yourself. You know, are you in love with those products and services? Do you love serving your clients in that way? And if you do, brilliant, keep it in. And if you don't, well, you know, give yourself permission not to do it or to change how you deliver it. But in a nutshell, level 1, and you know, I'm going to answer your questions about this as well. So level 1 is like the entry level income. And you've maybe heard this being said time and time again, but this level is exactly how you can combat feast and famine. So level 1 could be weekly paid classes. It could be a monthly event. It could be a subscription club. It could be a VIP level of support that somebody gets, but they're paying you every single month. So it's about what's in your soul and in your heart to actually deliver. So level 1 is that, you know, what is it? It's like an entry point of income where you're getting it paid on a regular basis that is kind of stopping the feast and famine. So for me, let me give you a really live example of this. So when I first created the Business Grower, I had 2 level 2 incomes. So number 1 was my networking group. So I ran that networking group for 3 years, and I sold those seats every single month, which was great practice because I got really used to selling. And you know, it's kind of, you learn what works and what doesn't work for you. So level 1 was this networking group. Every single month I was selling the seats, but I had like a guaranteed income from the kind of 20, 25 seats that I would sell. So I got really good at selling, and most of those events sold out. So that was guaranteed as long as I was putting the work in to go out there and promote the seeds. So that was one level. So I never had that whole panic about where's the money coming from. The money was coming from there. And then at the same time, I also introduced a monthly club. And eventually I stopped the kind of monthly face-to-face events and just ran my club for a period of time. And that was like a membership club. And every month people paid me a membership amount. And people came and they got content and support. And again, that was a consistent flow of income. So can you start to see how you can reduce really quickly feast and famine? Because you could have this baseline of income coming in, and that's job done. That might be like your bills covered. And this allows your soulmate clients to come and get to know you. So you might be creating a ton of content and you want to create like a library that people have access to. There's all sorts of different ways that you can do this. If you're, I've worked with Lindsay previously, so I'm not quite sure, but it's a while ago, so I'm not quite sure of her business model at the moment. But at the time, she was running like alternative, like holistic therapies for other people, for her clients. So it could be that you could create like a monthly club for people who receive a level of your support for the monthly amount that they pay you. And then your level 2 is, so this could be like a group training. So something where it's a higher price than level 1, and you're perhaps collectively supporting people in as a group. And then level 3 is probably going to be like where somebody gets all of you, like your VIP work or something like that. And what you've got is you've got people who you're building a relationship with, and they want to come and work with you, and they like what you do and how you do things, and they believe in you. That's level 1. Sometimes these people they'll always stay at level 1, and that's great, isn't it? As long as they've been served, that's amazing. Often level 1 transitions into level 2 and then transitions into level 3. Often level 2 transitions into level 3, and sometimes people go from 1 to 3. They totally bypass 2. They're like, I want all of you. I want all of the results, and I want it now. So what I want to hear from the people who are here live is, how can you bring this into your business? Or have you already got this in your business? For the people who are listening back to the recording, you may have heard this before. Have you got it in your business? Is it working? Is it the things that you love to do? Let me know. I am not going to tell you ever what you should and shouldn't do at these levels. This is completely up to you. You need to give yourself permission to let stuff go that's not serving you anymore. Give yourself permission to allow things in that totally light you up, that you're ready to call in more. So just as you're thinking about this, your business model and your income calculator, and start to look at the numbers. So, if you've got, an income goal here, and you've got a product at level 1 or level 2 or level 3, how many of those in a year do you need to sell? Because sometimes we can go, £50,000 seems really reasonable now. And there might be part of you that thinks, is there a bit of a stretch in there? So let me know what's coming up for you here. Or let me know if you're utterly confused by this point, because you're currently working with one business model, but actually you've got a ton of questions that need to be answered before you can even think about this. So just as you're thinking about your business model and bringing things in only that you love, I just wanted to let you know that I have the doors wide open for my mastermind group, which is for women who are ready to really look at bringing in a business and growing a business that they truly love, and looking to bring in epic results in their business. There are already 8 amazing women in that group they're getting started with getting really clear about what it is that they're looking to do, who they're looking to work with, how they want to work with them. And then throughout the kind of 6 months we'll be together, I'll be supporting them with that clarity, with that focus. I'll be helping them to overcome those challenges that we talked about earlier. And then there's the accountability for them to go and do it. But because we're a group, and because we're a group of like-minded women, it's just this gorgeous, powerful incubator where not only are you getting support from myself, but you're getting support from other women as well who completely understand what it takes to run a business. There's not many people, unless you run a business yourself, that understands what it takes. So this is definitely for you if you are ready to play a higher game in your business and in your life. And if you know that you've got these big, juicy goals and you're just not getting the results that you want to on your own, and you're absolutely fed up of being the only person in your business. You could have me and a whole load of other women in there as well, supporting you every single day. Why is it 6 months? 6 months. I previously run masterminds for like 4 or 5 months, and generally we say that you're looking at 2 or 3 months of consistent, aligned action before you start to get the results. It doesn't have to be that way. You can get faster results right now. So let me give you an example of one of the mastermind clients who's in there now, and why they're already there is that they came to my last live event, which was in September. They all signed up for the mastermind and they were hungry to get going. And I was like, do you know what? Even though the doors aren't open yet, you can get going. And from that event, Kelly Carnes, who's over in my Live Your Abundant Life group, is an amazing entrepreneur. And within that live event, she got clarity about what her next product and service was going to be. And she started selling it. And to date, she has got 20 brand new clients. I mean, that's flipping amazing, isn't it? Would she have done that on her own? No. She would have maybe eventually got there, but she's had support from me. She's had support from the others. It's been absolutely amazing to see her there. Okay, so we're going to come back to this. So just thinking about the mastermind, you know, if you know that you are ready to take your business to the next level and you want the support to do that from myself, this is a brilliant opportunity. I am going to close the doors in October. There's a ton of bonuses available at the moment because we love bonuses. And there are probably about 3. I've got a capacity for 15, but 3 is kind of my ideal number. So I'm looking for just 3 more women to come and join us to be part of this powerful incubator and to start to build the success that you want to see in your business. So it just becomes this kind of lever that you know how to pull because you understand what works for you and what works for your business. And then you too can be like Kelly and calling in your next 10, 20 clients just like she did. And she's done that from that collective energy in there. So just a few details about I'm not going to go into a ton of details about the mastermind because you'll know if this is the right thing for you. The full details are over on my website, which is www.rachelsmithlifecoach.com. And you'll see that it's there. It's the Fearless Female Entrepreneur Mastermind, and it's absolutely awesome. So you get weekly mastermind calls, any training that's in there. You don't have to go through a ton of training and get the little nuggets that you need. You know, I'll create any bespoke training that you need. I'll review anything, any sales pages, any copy, anything that you want me to review. I'll look at that for you. And we have those monthly Just Do It days because we all know those days when we keep meaning to do certain jobs and we never get round to doing it. And on top of that, one of the bonuses at the moment is that you get access to 3 live events, and the third one is going to be a 2-day event, which is going to be absolutely awesome. So the bonuses at the moment is access to Welcome Week, which is underway. I'm running a series of masterclasses this week, which is getting my guys wide open to receiving in the business that they want. And you also get a private strategy session with me as well. So this is a 6-month investment where you have me holding your hand throughout your business. You have access to any support training that you require that's actually going to take you from where you are now to where you want to be in the future. So that investment is split over 6 months. So you don't even need to find the money straight away. So the investment is £300 per month. And from that, you're getting a ton of support. So it's highly affordable. It's like the cheapest way that you can work with me in this way. Not that we're looking for cheap, but one of the goals from myself and a set of the business grow was to have the most accessible support for women, because when I was in dire straits in my business, I'd look at all of this kind of support that was out there and think, well, how am I going to get several thousands of pounds all in one go? So I want to make this accessible, but it is powerful. This is actually my 3rd mastermind that I'm running right now, and believe me, the women in there get fantastic results about it. So if you've got any questions about that, let me know. Full details are on my website, and you can just PM me, because the best way to figure out if this is for you is for us to have a conversation as well. So let's just go back to the question that I raised before I talked about the mastermind, where Lindsay was sharing that she's doing training courses, yay! Okay, so that could be your level 1, 2, and 3, couldn't it? So there you go, lots of ideas there. Oh, so Lindsay is saying that she does do distance healing, but she doesn't charge for it. You could charge for it, you could just create a Facebook group and do it now. Really easy, it'd be really easy to set up, especially if you currently have people who are buying it from you. You know, the value that people will get from it once they're actually paying for it is completely different. Right, so where are we at now? So I would like to invite you to come back to this piece. So when we were defining right at the beginning what success looks like for you, and I was sharing how that this is the bit that so many people miss out on with regard to mindset. And this is the bit where, like, we can do all the mindset in the world that we want, and it will make a slight shift. However, it's when you take the daily actions as that kind of new version of yourself, that version of yourself that you're evolving into, that's when everything shifts. So in the final part of your workbook, what I'd like you to do is for you to think about this future version of yourself, you know, whether that's in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, 12 months' time. You know, there's no wrong and there's no right with this. It's whatever is deep within inside you. And as this future person, rocking it in the business and having the business that they truly desire to have, I want you to think about, you know, there you are implementing something similar to this, where feast and famine doesn't even exist anymore in your business because you've got that covered here. But thinking about, you know, this version of yourself, feast and famine gone, what are your daily aligned actions? What do you feel called to do in terms of being visible? I'm not one of these coaches that's going to give you a matrix and tell you that you've got to be everywhere on social media in order for you to be a success. It's about taking aligned action. It's about being in flow. It's about showing up when you are ready to, in a way that totally works for you and totally works for your audience. Yes, in terms of visibility, you want to be turning up where your clients are. And something that we did at the live event is we were talking about visibility. And one of my now mastermind clients really shared how she had a problem with live streaming. She totally could see how powerful it was, but she really felt that she couldn't do that. So I shared a tool that she could use and start to get her voice and find her message. And she's been using that for just 2 weeks. And now she's like, I'm on live stream. It just totally clicked for her. So just think about your visibility as this future person for you. And this isn't to say that you are taking action in 3 months' time. This is like the action that you're taking right now as this future version of yourself. Yes, so Lindsay's saying, live stream terrifies me. And I am never going to tell you, Lindsay, that you've got to do live streaming. Like, the only way you'll be successful is if you go on video. It is not at all. One of my mastermind buddies really made me laugh. We were in a mastermind at the end of last year, and we're back in one at the moment. And you know how everybody goes on about your email list and how you should have a newsletter every week that goes out to your email list, and that's the only way that you can grow your business. And you know, that's like one of the rules that I totally had bought into. And last December, she was promoting something, and she basically was using her Facebook group. That was how she was connecting with her audience. That's how she was calling her people to her. That's how she was selling. And then she messaged us one day and she said, I'm going to email my list. And we were all laughing because she hadn't actually emailed her list in over a year. And that day she emailed her email list and got 4 new clients. So, like, everybody tells you you've got to email at this specific rate in order to grow your business. And that wasn't necessarily true for this person, because what worked for them and what worked for their clients and their audience was being visible in a totally different way. So just only ever think of ways that you feel aligned to be visible. Sometimes it has to be a stretch, but sometimes there's a step in between as well. And if you're thinking, well, I would be more visible, but the only way to be visible is via live stream, and then that becomes the block, it's kind of worked backwards from that. How do you want to be visible? And if you want to be visible via live stream in the future, brilliant, make that a future thing. But now, how do you feel pulled to be visible to your audience? And that's what you put down here. And it's exactly the same for your actions. You know, in your message, you know, are you really clear about who you're speaking to? Are you really clear about what your big mission is for these people? And sometimes, you know, perhaps if we've got multiple soulmate clients, it can be really difficult to know what the message is. And I would say to anybody who's struggling with that is to only ever write to one person. Like, have a person in mind. This might be somebody that you know, it could be a past client, it could be a current client. Just write to that one person and make it the person that you're sharing your message with. Yes. So Savannah is sharing that she finds visibility difficulty. The way that I often can't talk about it. Could you just share what you do in terms of your business? That would be really helpful to understand that. So if it's difficult to talk about it, I mean, it depends what it is. There will be something that you can share about it. And your message, I mean, this is so, like, your message can often be just your story, your truths. And I definitely remember this time last year sharing like a situation that had occurred with a family member and how I'd learned to not kind of take on board their stuff and how to move away quickly. And I shared it. I was in the middle of launching something and I shared it in my Facebook group, Live Your Abundant Life. And I got a client because it resonated with that personal message that I shared. I'm a problem solver. Company may have a challenge and I parachute in to solve it, put systems in place. So you can't talk about, I assume here that you can't talk about the specific companies that you go and work with, or maybe even the specific problems, but there must be some patterns to the type of problems that you go in to solve and the type of things that you put in place. It can be both. So in terms of that then, in terms of it being a company, you can just talk about companies in general. Like, you know, you can say things like, you know, I see you running a company completely frustrated because you're facing da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, you don't need to name the companies themselves. You can just talk about the heart of the problem. So you can say, look, you know, I understand that you're facing this at the moment. Your staff are disengaged. You're feeling as if your leadership skills are being questioned all the time, and because of that, your profits are taking a nosedive. You can just talk about it in those kind of terms, and then talk about what they can do to resolve it. So, like, it would be amazing, wouldn't it, if we just shared content and then said, you know, here, call me, I'm the person. But what we need to do with any message that we create is that we're looking to build a couple of things. One of them is authority, that we know what we're talking about. So if you're not going out there and telling people what you do, it's going to be really difficult for people to build that knowledge that you are an authority in what you do. The second thing is that it allows people to connect with you so you can build relationships. People buy from you when they feel as if they're connected to you. So think about the last person you bought from. How much of a relationship did you have with that person or with that company before you actually bought from them? I very rarely buy from new companies, but when I do, it feels like a bit of risk, and I never know if it's going to work out. And if it's a great experience, I stick with them. But if it's not, I kind of ditch them off pretty quickly. So two things we're looking with our visibility is that we're looking to build ourselves authority and we're looking to build relationships. It's possible, but it's kind of like the kind of selling bit comes after that, doesn't it? So sometimes I might share content where I'm selling specifically, like, let's say, my mastermind. Other times it might just be a call to action for somebody to maybe look at another blog post on my website that's relative, or to download a freebie or something like that. So let me know if that helps you. Hopefully it does. And it's exactly the same with your daily actions. We've talked about mindset quite a lot. Mindset is, like, as I said, it's my non-negotiable. It has to happen every day. It's what has changed everything for me in my business and in my life. So what are your daily mindset actions? And if you need any ideas about what that could be, let me know. And then next, thinking about that business model that was in the kind of second exercise, what can you create that you haven't already got? What are you feeling like excited about creating? And that's the same with your content. So it doesn't just have to be about products. It could be a freebie, it could be an event, it could be a new product or service, it could just be some content. What are you starting to get pulled towards about creating in this whole kind of realm of being yourself, being authentic, sharing your truth, and really speaking to just your soulmate clients? And then the final bit is, we're in business. We're in a business. We're looking to positively impact our soulmate clients in the best possible way. And how are you going to do that? You're going to do that by providing products and services that they want as well. And then, it really is a rinse and repeat process after that, as long as it fires you up. From my kind of year of being playful, the things that have stuck for me is my masterminds, my one-to-ones, and my kind of one-off trainings, which have been consolidated at the moment. So any final questions that you've got from the content, questions from things that have come up, questions about the mastermind, anything that I can help you with? We've been going for just over an hour. We've covered a lot. And I just want to make sure that before we conclude today that you are fully supported. And then just to repeat what I said about continuing this work, this continues for the next 2 weeks. You'll probably come away from this and things will drop through into your, your head, and you'll be like, right, okay, I need to work on that, or I want some clarity about that. So what is that? And you come and you get support in Live Your Abundant Life. Just come and message me or anything like that. So, any final questions? You've been very interactive. It's been amazing. Thank you very much. What have been your biggest ahas right now? Have you been kind of tying yourself up in a lot? There is a lot to think about, definitely. But what, is there, have you found yourself looking to other people, believing that they have some magic wand? Yes! Lindsays just come up with a 3-month program. Woohoo! That's exactly what we're talking about here. That's it. It's that sort of clarity. And it's like, Lindsay, yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's a Lindsay for you. That just map it out, get really clear about it, get really excited about it, and then go and start to make that magic happen in the energy that you've got. So often we sit there and we procrastinate, or we try to wait until everything's perfect, and you just, in the energy where you've come up with a 3-month program, that's the energy that you go out and you sell, and it will be amazing. And let me know in the next kind of 2 weeks how you get on with that. I know you're regular and Live Your Abundant Life, so you can do that. Yes. So what can you do, Lindsay, on a daily basis to build that belief? What is it? And from that belief, future pacing yourself, so that future person in 3 months' time, where you've run this program, you've sold it, you created it, you've run it, maybe you come to the end of it. What would you be doing on a daily basis as that version of yourself in 3 months' time? And that's the action from this sheet. That's the action that you need to take. Well done. Very excited. Yeah, come and do it in the group. Come and share what's come up for you. Brilliant. And that goes for everybody who's here, everybody who's listening back, is come and be supported and live your abundant life. You are not alone in running your business. That is a choice, but you can choose not to be alone. You can come and join me and live your abundant life. You can come and join the mastermind. We can private message and have a separate conversation about how you're supported, but do not run your business on your own. We all need a space and an environment to ask questions and be supported. That's exactly what you've got here. So that's me. I'm just going to say goodbye. I'm going to say thank you very much for listening to me today and for sharing so much. You've been amazing. I've absolutely loved it. Thank you. Bye. See you soon.